Whoa.
Hi everyone, it's Brian Waters here from the QTube. I hope you're all doing well. I'm very happy to be able to present a new interview today with David Logan, a composer and educator who's very experienced in the music industry, and he's one of the judges for Score Relief 2022 this year. Speaking of Score Relief, I just want to again thank everyone that's taken part and everybody that's donated to our fundraiser, and just to reassure all the people that have taken part that the judging process is underway. We're going through it very carefully to make sure that everybody's entry is listened to, so rest assured that that's being taken care of in a professional and thorough way. And yeah, we'll be posting updates as we go along, with a view to hopefully revealing the winners in early March. So at the moment as we speak, everything's going fairly smoothly and everything's on schedule for us to be able to do that in early March. So we've got quite a few new interviews coming up, and we're also looking for other people to interview. So if anybody's interested or knows somebody who might be interested or can connect us with somebody that might be interesting for the community, then yeah, let us know. Post in the comments below or message me. But yeah, without further ado, I'd like to hand over to Karima, who's a member of the QTube community, who's currently pursuing a master's degree and is doing these interviews as part of her master's research and also on behalf of the QTube. So I'll hand over to Karima and David. I hope you enjoy the interview and find it interesting and useful. Thank you.
Hi, David. Can you hear me?
I sure can. How's it going?
Great. I'm fine. Thank you.
I'm finally here. All right, so good.
And your lighting is fabulous as well. You have it all set up.
Well, I always teach my students, if you're going to do anything, try to be the best at it. Right? So if I'm going to have the multicam set up, I'm going to have like the ring light, which of course I have.
The ring light. Nice to
I'm just, anyway, and that's part of what's happening now. The industry is changing. Right? Streaming and content is part of the new world, really, for composers.
Yeah, we're all becoming pros in theory at it. Yeah, I think all this visual stuff.
It's all, here's a great quote. You can clip this out and put my name under it. But in the 20th century, in the entertainment business, the saying was, it's all about who you know. Well, in the 21st century, it's all about who knows you.
Oh,
you see?
Who?
Like, in other words, back then, it was your connections and who did you know in the industry that could, get you to the next meeting, And now it's not about who you know, it's about who knows you, how many followers you have, how many people are aware of what you're doing. That's the new frontier, basically. That
how visible you are, because we all have... In theory, we all have the same opportunity to put ourselves out there on social media.
So technology, but go ahead. No, you go ahead. Really.
No, do you think there is still somewhat the aspect of who you know also helps sometimes?
In a situation where there are two people who are equally qualified to do the work, and a producer has to make a decision, like either this person or that person, they'll choose the person that they know and they're more comfortable with. What I always tell people, because the number one question I get is, how do I get work in the industry as a composer?
Yeah.
And my answer usually, I guess is a little bit disappointing to them, because, I say, just compose, play games, love music, love making music, and do what you love, and eventually the money will come to you. You won't have to look for the work. But then usually the other answers include, how hard are you willing to work?
Yeah.
So I think that in a lot of cases, it's a lot easier to get work now, but it's also a lot harder.
So I think so too. Because in a way, I mean, it's wonderful that everyone has the same opportunities, but it also means that you're competing against more people.
Correct. But you see, that's how it should be. There should be,
Equal
you know,
opportunities.
in equal absolutely. I believe in equal opportunities, and we have that. You know, technology has given us the democratization of publishing as we know it. And this is one of the most beautiful gifts to humanity, but it's also one of the most dangerous and deadly weapons against humanity. It's true. It's really true. And so, because the point is that, you know, the public in general has terrible taste in everything. Bad taste in clothing, bad taste in music, bad taste in cinema. It's true.
Don't tell
I'm
them.
sorry.
Don't tell them
I'm
that.
being, but it's true, you know, and, you know, people will always like shake their head like, oh yeah, you're so right. You're so right. Well, you're the public, man. You're buying that crap. Anyway, no, but my point is this, is that there used to be people who would make really important and critical and creative decisions about who could score a film, who could have a record deal, who could record with the London Symphony at Abbey Road Studio One. You know, these were very important, and they were based on talent and taste. A&R people at record labels, you know, there was a person's job was just to go hang out in clubs and bars in New York City, and wow, look
Spot
at this
the
crazy
talent.
guy playing the guitar.
Yeah.
You know, we should sign him to our label. And now Justin Bieber was signed 10 years ago, whenever, because he got the most YouTube follows and hits, because he was this cute little boy playing the drums and playing the piano and singing. And he had, like, once he got like 10 million views, it was like a competition of who could sign him the fastest. And that's just not, that's not good policy for creating quality music. And so I think we live in the worst time in human history to make music, and the best time. Right. So that's why I say it's like a double-edged sword.
Yes. Could one argue that now, I mean, in a way, it's like a popularity contest, but at the same time, all those millions of viewers got to have their say about what they thought was good music, whereas back in the day, it was just a handful of people who decided.
Yes, but yes, that's absolutely true. And I think that the fans feeling that they are somehow more involved, yeah, but it's based on popularity. It's not based on quality. This is the point. This is what I'm trying to say. You know, the Beatles lasted because they made quality music, you know? So yeah, I think that, you know, the problem is that, you know, 20 years ago, when you went to a rock concert, people were there. They were in the moment, you know, or 25 years ago, you know, they were there. They were present. They were watching. And now you go to a rock concert. This is how people watch the concert now, right? Oh, by the way, allow me to introduce you to my cell phone.
Useless.
Useless. That's
or
right.
use less.
Well, it's really useless. It's my reminder to myself that it's a completely useless thing. And in fact, it doesn't do anything positive for your life other than help you stay organized. I mean, don't get me wrong, can't live without the phone, but at the end of the day, I can't eat it and it can't love me.
Oh, gosh. Well, when you put it like that.
Well, you know, those are the two basic needs, food and love for humans, right? So anyway. So do you want to get to the core? We've just been like warming up. Do you have some specific, do you want to jump in? Am I wasting time here?
Sure. No, I mean, I think it's all relevant and interesting because my aim is to speak to an industry composer about and probe out their views on things such as technology, communication, and then especially creative workflow. I mean, for instance, using the mobile phone and the technology, as you say, it's a double-edged sword. On the one hand, people are less in the moment and, you know, not really experiencing things in the moment. So, but do you find though, it's essential for communicating with your clients and working remotely?
Absolutely. And sure. When I started in this business in the late 90s, like in the games business, I started my career, I guess 1992 is when I started writing for film, just small little industrial films, nothing, you know, that anyone would know. And so, yeah, in 1995, I did my first short film, and a TV series. And then eventually I found my way out to Hollywood, California. And that's where I got involved in the games industry. And so back then, yeah, you had to meet face to face with a client. You had to physically go on campus, you know. So when I was doing work with Activision, you know, I was there physically in their studios in Santa Monica. So actually, I remember when they moved from Westwood to Santa Monica. It's like, anyway, historic stuff. Anyway, whatever. So the point is that, you know, the reason, there were many reasons I left LA. And one of them was because, you know, I would ask, you know, hey, do you guys want me to come and, you know, present my files, you know, and they're, oh no, just upload it to the FTP server. Because by 2003, internet was fast enough that you could then work remotely. And then I remember, and I was seeing less and less of my clients. And I remember thinking to myself, why am I maintaining this very expensive lifestyle here in this city that I don't particularly enjoy living in? When everybody's just saying, no, upload it, go ahead. So before Dropbox, we had FTP servers, basically these, you know, remote dial up, and you would like have an IP address, and then it was all like block ASCII text. It was like very much like the Matrix or something. Anyway, the olden days when if you had 1 megabit of speed, you were like, that was a lot, you know. So.
I came in around there at the start. I knew pre-internet, but I wasn't a working professional, so
right.
I have some inkling.
Well, that's the thing. There is a generational divide, and this is what I find more concerning. But to answer your question, to finish the answer, yeah, now technology has changed everything, and so now I can't function without it. You know, I'm 100% technologically dependent for every single step of what I do. But also, the very definition of the word technology is basically anything that can enhance a human function. You know, any device or even a methodology. Like, I mean, mathematics is kind of technology if you think about it, right? It allows us to systematically make calculations in a way that we can absolutely know 100% is going to be right. I mean, of course, unless you punch the wrong key in your calculator. But
human error.
But like, to give you an idea, like the first Texas Instruments made the first calculator. And it was like something like $10,000, the first calculator.
Oh, really?
Well, now it's like on your watch. It's in your phone. Yeah. It's like, you know, but back then that was big technology. Having a portable calculator that you could have in your hand and punch in the numbers. It was like magic, you know. I don't remember the year of that. But anyway, but I think that the real big problem now, and I'll tell you the source of the biggest concern I have in the industry. And part of the reason that I guess I'm really, unfortunately, I have a pretty dark and negative view and bleak view of where the industry is now. But I'm going to tell you the truth, not what you want to hear.
Yeah.
I hope that's okay with you. Is that okay with you?
We want to hear it. Don't sugarcoat it.
Yeah. Okay. So look, back in the day, right? This studio was probably, there were 4 more racks on either side. Okay. So like literally stretched all the way around me. And so back in those days, you needed all that gear in order to be able to produce a proper soundtrack. Okay. You need to have a mixing desk. You needed to have outboard gear, high quality outboard gear. And, you know, I mean, I must have spent easily $500,000 on my studio, easily, you know? And so, you know, that allowed me to produce very high quality masters. So not every kid could do it. No, you know, very few people were qualified to do that work. And now, basically, with no disrespect to people in their 20s, any 20-year-old with a laptop and GarageBand can now compete against me and produce something that's not half bad. And the bigger problem, the problem that really concerns me, is that there are a whole generation of game developers and producers and TV producers and people making series for Netflix, you know, that don't know the difference between high quality master recording done in a studio, properly mastered, and somebody hitting export to MP3 on their laptop. They don't get the difference. They can't hear the difference. They don't have the ability. And for them, it's good enough. And that guy's cheaper. So, the standard rate in the industry for doing games is roughly between 1,000 to 3,000 American dollars per minute of music written. Okay. So, a minimum to do half hour of music is about 30,000. That's like the minimum, in the world of like, AAA games. Okay. So here comes a kid in his 20s with a laptop who will do it for 5,000. And so the producer's like, oh, wow, I can save 25,000 on my game. I'll go with this guy. And then, these standards, and I for fear of sounding like an old person, which I guess I have gray hair, so it qualifies me. The music, the quality of music today is just not as good. It's just not as good. Sorry, it just isn't, because people are learning and picking little bits of pieces here and there from a YouTube video and how to make a beat and how to write for an orchestra. And then there are companies like Spitfire who are making like Band in a Box, but for big epic orchestra, so like hit this button and you have big, powerful, epic strings, as opposed to like understanding the proper techniques of orchestration and understanding how, when, and where to bring in what instruments to produce what tones and what colors, and
But
there's no regard for this.
Those things are so vital when you're scoring for film or for games,
Of course they are.
The subtleties of orchestration and tone. So is it the people employing the composers, they don't know the difference, or they don't
know the difference.
They don't care about the
or they don't care
creative process,
or they just want to save money. Tick which box you prefer.
Right. I mean, as long as the composer gets it roughly right, the mood, then that's good enough for them.
With it. And look, I remember watching this VH1 Behind the Music, where they're interviewing some like alt band in the late 90s, early 2000s, and one guy was like, the bass player's like, yeah, man, I only have 2 strings on my bass and I just never got around to changing them, and that's how my technique as a bass player evolved. Okay. I mean, on the one hand, sure, if you have more limitations placed on you, you become more creative. I get that, but that's not what he was saying. He wasn't like, challenging himself as an artist. Like, what can I do with 2 strings? He was just being a hipster. And then the guitar players, yeah, man, we wrote the song. It's a 3-minute song and we wrote it in 2 minutes. We just said, we'll repeat the chorus twice. Like as if that was something to be proud of. And I just like, so standards are going way down. And, but the good news is that creativity is evolving. There is a new creativity, I think, particularly in composers of my generation and maybe 10 years younger than me, who, grew up with tape. People 10 years younger didn't grow up with tape, but I grew up with tape. So my generation and a little bit younger who, remember samplers that only had 32 megabytes of RAM, and megabytes with an M.
Not gigabytes.
And not gigabytes, megabytes with an M. And, there were no round robins. That didn't exist, round robin sampling.
Yeah.
So we who grew up with this technology are now understanding something. And I think that we're starting to see this evolve, which is sound design based music. And I did a master class on this yesterday, in fact. The idea of, just deriving from tone, color. And so that's the new orchestration. And we can combine the electronic manipulation of everyday objects. And I actually took an IKEA salad bowl and a thermos bottle and a bunch of other things. And I made this really cool track out of it. And then I started adding in orchestral textures and colors into it. So I made this hybrid, really crazy track. And I think that there's more of this starting to emerge.
So thank you, David and Karima. I think you'll agree that was a great interview. That's just the first part of the interview. I've split it up into sort of digestible chunks of about 15 minutes or so. So I'll be sharing some other parts of the interview later on. But let us know in the comments what you think. Any questions, comments, different points of view. It's all welcomed. And I'll be sharing more of this type of content with you in the very near future. So thanks everybody once again. Please remember that our Score Relief fundraiser is still open while we're taking care of the judging. So any and all donations are very gratefully accepted. We're still trying to get towards our target. We're not quite there yet. So if you can spread the word, reach out, help out, that would be much appreciated. Thanks everyone. Take care. Have a great day. Bye for now.